Welcome to the IREM AI Forum, focused in commercial real estate. Over the past year, we've all heard plenty of high-level conversations about AI, how it will transform everything. But today's program is about execution. This forum is designed for the operators, the people responsible for leasing velocity, tenant experience, and portfolio performance across office, retail, industrial, and other sectors. We've structured these sessions as a tactical playbook. We'll start at the top of the leasing funnel and look at how AI is reshaping facilities management and tenant experience, and then close with a portfolio level risk reporting and scenario planning. Each panelist is here because they're actively experimenting or already deploying workflows. And our goal is to surface what's really working, not just in theory, but in practice. So whether you manage a single building or oversee an entire portfolio, you will walk away with specific workflows, demos, and try this tomorrow type of takeaways. Let's get started. Welcome to our first panel here at our AI Forum. This panel is all about execution. AI in commercial leasing is no longer a theoretical. Across office, retail, and other asset types, we're seeing real deployments in lead generation, market intelligence, tenant targeting, broker enablement, even LOI analysis. Today, we're getting into the AI playbook, what's actually working, how teams are experimenting, what's been tough for folks, and what happens after the pilot. I'm thrilled to join our two panelists today, Caroline and Arthur. Caroline, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Anne. Thrilled to be here today. Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Wu. I'm the Director of Research at Placer AI, and really looking forward to speaking with you and Arthur today.
Oh, that was very bright. I can't compete with that. Let's say my name is Arthur Ambartsamian, and my day job is at Ascendix is helping real estate teams to work smarter with technology and AI. And because I'm a curious person, I also host a podcast, The Concrete Voice, where we talk about how our industry is changing right now with leaders. And yeah, I'm really happy to be here today and not to throw around, some theory, but to talk about real impact AI can have in commercial real estate.
Great. So thrilled to be here with the two of you. We've got two experts in these areas. Let's jump right on in and start at the very top of the funnel in prospecting and in market intelligence. So Caroline, how are you using and how are your clients using AI to help identify and prioritize where they should be looking?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Placer is a total game changer for a lot of our clients. We are a location intelligence and analytics platform. We get our data from mobile devices, so we're able to see sort of the patterns for which individuals with these mobile devices are going throughout their day and seeing the customer journey. So first of all, I would say Placer is really square one for people to start in order to understand a lot of the traffic patterns that are happening. So everything from, the actual visitation you're getting, year over year traffic. We go all the way back to, 5 years ago. So you can look at, pre-COVID and post-COVID and things like that. And I think one thing that's very special is the ability to look at competitors' traffic as well. So perhaps in the past where one might know your own traffic versus through, car counters or, beacons or Wi-Fi or something like that. Now you really have this 360 view of what is happening in your trade area, what's happening with your competitors, some of the demographics of your visitors, et cetera. So definitely, square one, begin with Placer.
Yeah. And so as we think about then the top of the funnel, as we think about prospecting, we think about tenants overall, how are clients using this type of data to help them make better decisions or to do other things?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of tools on our platform. So one that our clients absolutely love is called void analysis. And what this does is sort of look at your property and sort of the profile of some of the visitors that you get, or, shoppers if you're retail, for instance, and really identifies tenants. You can put different parameters on it in terms of square footage that you're looking at, perhaps the rate of state growth or national growth. You can look for brands that are, familiar to your clients that are perhaps within the state, but you can also look for similar patterns across the US. So you might find perhaps a sushi restaurant in New York that's performing very well that attracts sort of a similar demographic to, let's say, people in Los Angeles. And that might be a brand that you'd want to bring over. So I think void analysis is definitely a great place to start for many of our clients in terms of just idea generation and getting your target audience.
Yeah, I think that that's a great use case for this. But this is all sort of based on data as well. So how are we actually going through and validating this data and ensuring that it's accurate or precise or usable even in these types of use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. We work very closely with our clients. A lot of them, even before they sign on, we do a lot of back testing. So particularly for some of the largest, companies that are out there, the, mass merchants, home improvements, grocery, for instance, a lot of them have their own kind of ways of understanding their traffic patterns. We do a lot of testing with this to validate, and it's, in the 95% accuracy rate, plus or minus, with a lot of these. So we're constantly working back and forth with clients to just make sure that they're comfortable with our data before they sign on and use it.
Awesome. And who's most often using this kind of data?
So normally there will be research departments within, some of the large commercial real estate firms. Individual brokers can use it as well. It's, one of the things with Placer is it's so user friendly. The way the interface works is very intuitive, designed to be really as simple as possible. You can just put in, for instance, the properties you're interested in looking at. You can compare them across various dates and times. So you can actually, one thing I love to do is compare property to itself and kind of see how things have shifted over certain time periods. So yeah, anywhere from a individual proprietor all the way to CRE firms with thousands of people.
Fantastic. And so with Placer in particular, we started first in some of this data collection that's coming in from mobile devices and potentially other sources. Where is AI beginning to make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just the fact that all these different data sets can be aggregated. So we also have different partners that we work with. This is including anyone from, an Esri, for instance. We have census data that can be put on. So really, in addition to the location traffic, you can kind of pile on different layers. We have information on, what is under development, what's under construction, demographics of different trade areas. We have migration data from the census. We have behavioral and spend sources as well. So I think one of the beauties of sort of what's happening is as more and more data sources combine, you start having this sort of one-stop shop. One of the wonderful things too is you can create maps from this data as well. So instead of just having rows of numbers, you can actually visualize some of this data. If you want to see, what your trade area looks like, the different personas that are there, it can be color coded, et cetera. So I think, as we move along the AI roadmap, it's just going to get more and more sophisticated, also with, perhaps chatbots or something that you can ask questions. At the moment, we do have Placer Academy to kind of help people out with things. But I would see along the road, perhaps start using, small prompts and things like that.
Fantastic. All right. So we've got AI then integrated in with the data and providing new visualizations, new ways of looking at this information, in addition to what sounds like then more generative type of capabilities where we're beginning to do more slicing and dicing, more exploring, more trend analysis. Do you see other use cases where folks may be leveraging AI in addition to your data sets and market intelligence, whether inside of your platform or outside?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see a time where marketers are also connecting some of the dots that we have in terms of us providing things like demographic or persona segments, activating that in terms of marketing and advertising. So sort of connecting the dots of the sort of marketing funnel. You start with market intelligence, then obviously you start thinking about what is the strategy behind it. A lot of times it's who do you want to target? How do you target them? So it really can start getting to the point where you have very precise analytics and sort of a good ROI on your marketing spend to be able to target, if you're trying to steal share, for instance, or who are the, people that you've been angling at to kind of tie that into what we're learning in terms of zip codes people are coming from, behavioral segments, et cetera.
So I think here you've hit something that's really, really important, right? None of this exists in a silo, right? We don't necessarily want to keep all of this data and this insight and information just in the hands of these researchers who are looking at it, but instead connecting that further down the funnel as well. Arthur, I know that you've been working in particular on broker enablement and more marketing side of this. How are you thinking about either this kind of data and AI types of tools to help support these broker type of relationships?
Yeah, first I'd like to comment on the tenant topic, right? How do we work with the data? So um, imagine like you had dozens of conversations with tenants, and you have an AI assistant that is logging everything from your calls, from your emails, or you have a place for AI to fuel this data into your system. So traditionally, you would just spend hours to dive into this data, into your system to search, maybe with some filters, traditional things. Now with the AI, for example, agentic AI assistant that we built, you can just tell or ask AI, show me tenants that are interested in Class A office space, maybe 20 to 30K square feet, with leases expiring in 18 months. So it will almost immediately give you the results, the list, because during this every calls, this AI was collecting, capturing the data, structuring it, etc., etc. So basically, now we are getting to the point where AI is helping you to create the tenant list for outreach, for example, immediately. So it doesn't require SQL queries. It doesn't require, special training. It just makes it super fast, so brokers can be focused on prospects that are most likely to convert. Now to the question of the relationships. That's the topic I love. So in commercial real estate, we know that relationship is a key to every deal. It's something that agents, brokers own. It's their child, and we don't want to replace it. We want to do something interesting, again, with our AI, something that will help them with building the relationships. So say, again, they have different data sources and they have these friction points. I mean, 15, 20 small tasks every day to log this contact information, to log a call, upload a document, whatever. So now AI can do that for them, and it will not distract them, will not take them out of the field. This AI will capture a content. You can again use a voice command like add a lease for ABC Corp in Dallas, and it will do that for you. So this removes this repetitive admin type of work, and going back to relationships, we are not replacing them. We are basically protecting them right now with AI by giving the brokers time to do what they like to do, to focus on these high value conversations and to actually close deals.
Absolutely. So, Caroline, it's a similar question to you. As we think about the support and leveraging AI for support versus replace, where do you fall between those two things?
Yeah, I mean, I love what Arthur said about AI really helping with some of that admin stuff so you can concentrate on the relationships, the strategy, sort of the higher level thinking. I mean, one of the great things you can do with AI, for instance, is if all your calls are being recorded and you have multiple conversations, or perhaps you're talking with multiple people from the same organization, you can then ask AI, please give me a summary of all the different conversations that transpired. What is important to this client? What did marketing say? What did leasing say? What did development say, et cetera? And I think that's really important because in so many organizations, you might have different salespeople, different touch points. I've talked to this person at this level, that person there. And I think one great thing that AI can do is consolidate that. And then you can say, okay, guys, as a team, here are the different people we've talked to. Here's what's important to them, and have that sort of consolidated version, because I think that's really important because we know some of these C-level stakeholders don't like having different people from the same organization contacting them about multiple things. If you can come to them and say, here's our solution, here's what different stakeholders in your company have said, and here's how we can address points A, B, and C, that is so powerful and helps them save a lot of time.
So it sounds like then a unified view between the three of us, that AI in this case really focused on support, not necessarily replace, right? Or focused in augmentation of is it's too much effort, or it shouldn't necessarily be doing because it's better suited for a machine, so that we can go do what I would call the people or the relationship building things. Do I have that right between the two of you?
I absolutely agree with that.
Right. Yeah, I never met a broker who wakes up saying, "Oh, I like to enter data or do any type of admin stuff," you know. So that's something that's AI just does what people don't like to do.
And think of the fact that you could save, I don't know, 15 minutes after every call. Normally you would be typing up, oh, let me remember what the main bullet points, key points. If you have it on a, AI assisted recording, I mean, it just spits it out. Here are the 10 things that happen. Here are next steps. And that just saved you 15 minutes that you could spend, having a coffee with someone in real life.
Hmm.
Deeply powerful. So as we think about this, then either really focused in this augmentation or support type of role for AI, what kinds of things can we do now? What kinds of insights or materials can brokers provide that either they couldn't before or took a lot of effort to go and do? What are the two of you seeing?
Want me
I
to
can
go?
start.
Yeah, Caroline, please.
Well, we definitely provide templates for our clients, just to kind of get them started on how to use our platform often. And so I think that's one thing that sort of like gets them up to speed, in terms of here are some of the basic metrics that are relevant to this category, for instance, or to CRE. And so I think those are some of the kind of building blocks that we provide for them using our sort of Placer Academy and Placer templates.
Yeah, and the templates are amazing tools for AI. We need to, structure this unstructured data. That's the goal of basically in our products, for example, that's the goal of generative AI to take this text or unstructured data, whatever it is, and to structure it into some templates that are easy to read and make decisions. So I think that's the main point. And of course, the insights, the speed of insights is matters here more because I mean as I said, you don't have to just spend hours digging into the system. You can tell them what you need and receive it immediately.
Excellent. And so, Arthur, I know in particular that you've used some tools here around broker outreach, marketing, flyers. What's worked and what's not.
Well, flyers historically worked well, and we have a product for that specifically. We also have a document abstraction tool that helps to get the required information from those flyers and enter it to the system with the technology called OCR, optical character recognition, and also we use different platforms when we receive this say tenant list that we talked about. we have AI just draft an email and send it. You can, of course, do it with ChatGPT or whatever LLM you use, but when it's in your system, built in your system with your data, that makes things much faster.
Gotcha. Okay. What's not working? What have you not seen work? What are you struggling with? What maybe even have you abandoned at this point?
So I mean, we have so many scars in this AI battle because we started years ago and started from training models, which is very pricey and it consumes a lot of resources and a lot of time. Nowadays, you can do it much faster and you have much more tools like Placer AI and other great platforms, analytical platforms, AI platforms that you can integrate. So, I mean, if answering specifically the question, what doesn't work, is the closed-minded teams that resist adopting AI. So if that is the hardest obstacle for any leader to break this ice, to break the wall, whatever you have in years and history of using different tools and maybe frustrations, even with the AIs, just break it and be open-minded about experimenting and using AI.
Okay. So definitely then some adoption challenges that I definitely want to come back to that. Are there use cases in particular where AI is not the thing to be thinking about here?
Oh, of course, like building relationships. AI is not built for that. So we have, for example, a development in chatbot for external portals, where this market places for listing portals, as we call them, with different offers, different listings of office spaces, retail, whatever. And then you have a chatbot to talk to, like, I'm looking for this type of space. Yes, you can do that, and that works. That can bring, send notification to some broker that is responsible for particular leasing, etc., etc. But what it won't do, it won't build a relationship with the tenant or prospective buyer through this chatbot. So that's not what AI is, not what we use AI for.
Got it. Caroline, anything on your front? Things, use cases that aren't necessarily well attuned to AI or things that haven't worked with AI?
I mean, I think I agree with Arthur in that the more data we have to deal with, it does make things more complex, right? Like as you have more intelligence, you then have to weed through what's important, what's relevant, et cetera. So I think in that sense, for us as human beings, we're going to actually have to need that cognitive capability to actually absorb a lot of this data. So maybe before you took a lot of time analyzing it, looking for it, and on the back end, let's say it took you hours to understand some of the competitive threats or understand your trade area. To be honest, you can have that at your fingertips now. You just put in your parameters and your metrics. But what you need to do now is synthesize that and explain to the broker you're speaking to over coffee, over lunch, over Zoom or something like that, really distill to the top what's going to be important to them. Are they looking for a particular tenant to drive traffic? Are they looking for sort of an anchor tenant? Are they looking for kind of the halo effect from getting sort of, a first market tenant, something like that? So I think it will save time on the back end with all the research that you might initially have had to do and the admin, but then it's really up to the representative to be able to speak to why this data is important, form that relationship and have the person on the other end feel really comfortable and confident about going with your property.
Got it. So it sounds like we're going to have time to think again, which is, it sounds great until we actually get in front of this and go, okay, what do I actually need to synthesize out of these insights?
Yes.
How am I going to position this for the person that I am meeting with and that is directly in front of me? And what does that mean? Do I have that right?
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to have to kind of speed up a lot of the synthesizing.
Fantastic. So when we think about then generative AI in particular with this particular, or even agentic AI in this particular area, how are we protecting ourselves from outside threats, inside threats, the hallucinations of generative models, the brand voice, tone, and style, and ensuring consistency there?
Oh yeah, let me try to tackle this one. So, of course, security is very important for every company, and especially when we are working with the private data of our tenants, buyers, owners, whomever. So, in our practice, we rely a lot on the platforms that have like established security positions in the market, like Salesforce or Microsoft. So they have infrastructure and the standard security standards that we can trust and can recommend to our clients. But also, as you know, we have our own products and we've built our own infrastructure. So we do the certifications like ISO, SOC, and so on. So we can be sure that the data of our customers is protected. But if you use, of course, LLMs, or like if you use ChatGPT and you send your customer information, that's not safe. So either the OpenAI model should be hosted uh, in your secure cloud, or don't do that. That's I think that's an education probably that each leader should provide to their team.
Caroline, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, along the same lines, making sure that people within the organization are using the sort of official, AI that the company has vetted and suggests, and saying, be very careful, do not go outside of what has been prescribed. That way it stays within, that platform, and it doesn't kind of get out there in the world. And I think from just a data perspective, in terms of what we are using as our data, it has always doesn't have any, PII associated with it. It has, must have a minimum number of mobile devices in order to be considered, et cetera. So, we take privacy security very, very seriously. That's, the foundation of our, data platform. So I think just making sure also that, people within the organization are aware of sort of the power of AI. Obviously, with, like they say, with great power comes great responsibility, and just making sure you're using the vetted, company AI that's provided.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's transition a little bit from the broker relationship and the marketing that's going on into proposal and LOI support. The big term here is speed to deal. How do we see AI helping to evaluate proposals or analyze lease terms today?
So I can speak from our experience and from what we've heard from our clients. As I said, nobody likes to enter data, and I don't know anyone who likes to compare two LOIs in different templates and searching for specific information. So what AI can do, and document abstraction tools, it can basically structure the PDF, or you can receive LOI in different formats. It can be in email body. It can be a doc attached to this email. So it will take this unstructured text, will feed it into your template. If you have predictive AI, it will also help you to do the financial analysis, like calculate rent over term, concessions, escalations, whatever, and prepare for you like comparable tables. So then decision makers, they have apples to apples, two tables to compare, can focus immediately on the things that really matters for their strategy, or for like from this offer, and yeah, move forward without delay.
And so with this then, right, that's a great point there of not having to necessarily enter this into a system and then try to compare side by side, and instead enabling AI to both enter it and help you do the comparison. Do you have a specific use case or a situation maybe with a client where AI was accelerating that LOI generation or that lease comparison process?
Well, right now we have a development with our clients, and that's where I'm taking all of these examples, right? They have uh, documents, the offers sent in different formats, and they need to create quotes from that. And this whole process can be automated with AI, starting from document abstraction to generating the quote. So yeah, it's clear how much time it could save. For example, from 12 to 15 hours, we're estimating right now. And the only challenge is the accuracy. The accuracy is very important, and that's where AI engineers can help to achieve the appropriate level. I don't want, I know that I said at the very beginning, we don't want to go deep into the theory, but that's a real use case. And that's something that's really happening right now.
And that's the number one thing. Whenever I hear automation, the word that comes immediately to mind is accuracy. How accurate are we processing that data? How accurate is the data that's coming out? What is that human oversight that's still needed here? When you're thinking about this and you're going through and abstracting these documents into other systems, what level of accuracy should we expect? Should we expect 100%? Should we expect 80%? Should we expect 50%?
So to answer this question, I need to be careful because with some things in AI, you can achieve 100%, but in most cases, it's like a North Star. So you start from maybe 50, 60% accuracy. Then you go through one iteration, another, you get to 70, then you get to 80. And it's up to the use case and also the team how human interacting then with the output is what level of accuracy you want to achieve and what level of investment you want to do to achieve that. It's all based on ROI. So if you know what would be an ROI, you understand what level of accuracy can be achieved with the investment.
Got it. Okay. So for example, we could even do that data point to data point. Some of those data points we may not want or need 99.9999% accuracy. But other data points we absolutely do, depending again on what it is that we're looking at.
Right.
Human validation in there. Where are those human validation or checkpoints along the way?
So first of all, we are talking about accuracy. I immediately go into very complex scenarios where we need to train a model. Because to draft an email, you don't need to care about accuracy a lot because you will review an email before sending it. Or of course, if you're automating email sending, then there should be a template, and it's very hard, almost impossible for AI to mess up with the template because it's what it's designed for. So we're not talking about these cases. We're talking about cases where we need to extract financial data from large documents like 70 pages, and then we need to have enough data to train the model. So we load the model with the similar documents, like dozens, thousands of these documents, and we spend a lot of money for that. But again, it's like, what is the outcome? Why are we doing that? If we want to save for entire team, say the appraisal team, we want to save 100 hours because they don't have to do side-by-side reading of these offers or whatever data is, then it's worth it. So that's where accuracy really matters when we're talking about financial data and large documents.
Got it. Got it. And again, to that key point that keeps coming up, this doesn't necessarily exist directly in a silo. The things that we are evaluating, the things that we are comparing, although important in the LOI and proposal process to getting to a signed lease, certainly also valuable downstream of this as we begin to do more analysis, other reporting, et cetera, on that particular asset. So that's great. As you think about this kind of AI technology coming in on proposals, lease terms, LOIs, how do you envision staff changing or the structure of your leasing or asset team based on this tech being adopted?
Again, in our practice, it's uh, like AI is an assistant. So people remain the same, the roles remain the same, but they can handle much more volume of the information and the processes. So, and they have much more data. So their focus is more on decision making. For the brokers, it's on relationship building. For say asset management team is for decision making. So we have a lot of data, AI prepared for us, everything that we need to check. Let's do the control and let's make a decision. That's all. So yeah, basically human and the roles remain the same.
Okay, so the human remains the same, the title remains the same, but the scope of the role changes a bit.
Yeah, it's all about the companies we work with. It's almost always about scaling. So we want to scale with technology, not with people. So but we don't remove people from this formula, right? We keep our people, but we want them to use technology that would help us to scale.
Got it. So let's get to the brass tacks and talk about what this actually looks like from an implementation, adoption, usage, monitoring type of perspective. Where do we start, whether it be with generative AI or agentic AI? How do I go and make the decision that we're going to do this? What should be my decision criteria? And this is open for the both of you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like Arthur and I had discussed before, you start with some of that market intelligence that you need to create the proposal and, find out what's important to your client. Then you start getting into some of the more, middle and bottom of the funnel where you get into the execution, the relationship. And let's say you go ahead and sign the deal. Well, the market intelligence comes back again now because now you can use it to track the ROI. So if you are a shopping center, you can start tracking how is your traffic doing? How are your segments shifting? What is happening with migration in the area? What's happening to the overall trade area? Let's say household income, is it shifting? Are you getting more families in? Do you need to bring in more friendly brands? It can also be used for things like marketing. So events and programming, you can start understanding who's coming to your shopping center, for instance, and attending a program. So I have a client, for instance, who thought that the profile of the person coming to their shopping center was a particular, let's say, demographic or educational, or household set. And then once they actually analyzed it using Placer, they realized, oh, we're getting actually a lot more families than we were expecting. And so as a result, they started doing more family-friendly programming, and they're able to then track and see who's actually attending some of these. In the past, sometimes you didn't have an idea of who was coming to events. You might have, like a Eventbrite registration, but you don't actually know how many members of the family are coming, what zip codes are they coming from, what is their dwell time. So now with all this data, you can actually track these things and kind of complete the circle.
Yeah, I'd like to build on that. So when we're talking about how we measure AI success in general and KPIs, if you know that for some suburban shopping center or mall, the traffic is increasing, you can put a dashboard for the broker, like saying here is the traffic score in this by region, and make the decision on top of that. And that's really what's working, and I've seen that many times. When I look at the KPIs, I always imagine it as a two-layer system, like macro KPIs and micro KPIs. When I'm talking about macro KPIs, this would be this dashboards. You have speed to lease, you can have total deal value, deal volume, and so on. And micro KPIs here play like a role of the things that are important to fuel those results. And we can measure them in minutes right now. It's like the minutes you spent on data entry. Caroline gave a good example about this 15 minutes saved here that you can use to have a coffee with someone to build that relationship. The accuracy of the data captured also is a micro KPI that fuels then the larger picture. So, for example, and let me use this 45 minutes. A broker saves 45 minutes a day by handling and delegating AI, handling email logging, document parsing, tenant list building, and that's nearly uh, 4 extra hours per week. 4 extra hours per week. Yeah, they can spend on building relationship and prospecting, negotiating, and all of this very important stuff, making decisions. So over a portfolio, this micro win then compounds into this faster cycles, more deals, and just higher value. And the power of AI in it's finally like being able to measure ROI in minutes, not in months.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So you're thinking then when we get to the KPI component of this, the thing to look at is time saved, and then the potential reinvestments of that time into a variety of other higher value
Exactly.
or other types of activities or outcomes that you're looking to drive. Are there other KPIs that you begin to think about or track?
No, I think the minutes for automation of the work of any user of the system integrated with AI is the best thing you can measure to quickly assess the ROI, because nobody wants to wait again months and years to have understanding whether that investment work or not. But here you just enable AI, you can and you measure how many minutes it saved. So you understand that this time will be spent for the things that accelerate your business.
Got it. So we'd have a very deep understanding of that use case before putting AI into place so that we could measure those things. So we understand what that process looks like, how much time it took, who's
Yeah.
touching it, what kind of data is moving back and forth, what's upstream, and then what's downstream as well. Caroline, to your earlier point about market intelligence and how that gets used. All great things to scope as part of a pilot. Any lessons learned here that we should share, either from the clients that you're working with, other vendors, internal pushback? What have we learned along the way?
Yeah, I think for a lot of our clients, like I said, it's just as important to use this market intelligence on the back end after you've executed. So many of them say, oh, here's our, strategic intent. We're trying to steal share perhaps. And you can use Placer, for instance, to continue tracking your market share among, a particular competitive set that you have. Like I said, with events, are you reaching out to the right people, and do you then need to maybe shift your marketing strategy now that you can see what trade areas people are coming from, what zip codes are they coming from? So I think it's just a continual sort of cycle, and so we encourage all our clients to continue using it, not just at the beginning part, but you can go back to a tenant and say, oh, thank you for signing with us, here's how we're doing, here's how our traffic has been. You can say, these are the types of uh, visitors that we're seeing, et cetera. So it's just a continuous process where you can really continue tracking sort of your strategy and any initiatives that you might undergo.
Excellent. All right. So as we wrap up then this conversation, I'd love to leave our audience here with a deeply practical recommendation. What is something that any one of the folks in this audience could try as soon as they log off from our session today, if they wanted to get started using AI in the leasing funnel?
Yeah, I mean, from Placer's perspective, we actually have a free demo open to everybody. So if you're not familiar with Placer, feel free to log on and try our free demo. And then if you like what you see and want to get deeper, there's just so many additions to our platform and tools. Get in touch with me, and I can definitely help you get a true demo of the platform to kind of see how powerful it is.
Yeah, I really like the question of what can you do first with AI, and what would be this, small step. We discussed it a lot with the leaders in industry in my podcast as well. It's always hard for me to understand, okay, where is the audience in their AI path? Like at what level of AI adoption you are at this moment. So I can give you a really, really good practical suggestion. I will share a story, small one, I promise. And there will be several steps and several actions that could be leveraged. So depending on your level right now, I hope that you will find it useful. So my friend, and by the way, one of our customers, said to his team, I'm starting to using ChatGPT and I want to show you how I draft emails and how I prepare for my calls with tenants. So people tried it. He got a few followers. Uh, then he said, okay, now I want AI note taker to be present in all our meetings so we don't miss any detail. When that landed, he said, I will integrate it with CRM. So we have our notes where we actually work. And step by step, he grew the impact because the value was obvious to his team. And yeah, he just continues doing it every week, every month. Um, I mean, the point here is that you don't have to learn everything about AI. You don't have to find the right person to do that for you. You don't have to find the right time to do that. You just make the small step and you decide for yourself what is where you are and what is your next step, and you show it to your team, and you show the value, and you continue doing it every day. That is, in my opinion, how AI transformation moves in any successful team.
Got it. And so, from the both of you, then it sounds like start with small task and then begin to connect it to a much larger process that you're going through. And then, of course, seeing is believing, getting your hands around it, seeing what that looks like, seeing how this actually is going to work versus, saying, oh, well, somebody wrote about this on LinkedIn. It's instead actually seeing where it's working and continuing to iterate from there. Well, with both of you, thank you so much for being here. I think this was a great conversation. Excited to jump into our next panel after our break from one of our sponsors.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks, Caroline.
Yeah,
Really
thanks, Dan. Thank
proud
you.
to chat with you both.
Yeah, my pleasure.
There is no shortage of use cases for AI in the commercial real estate space. We have found that AI is perfect for addressing some of the challenges in turning your CRM tool into an asset for your brokerage instead of an unwanted and expensive Rolodex. Many of those challenges center around getting data into the system in a timely and accurate fashion. Conversely, getting meaningful data out of the CRM system presents its own set of challenges. With the incorporation of AI into CRM, many of these friction points between the user and the CRM application are alleviated. Let's take a look at a day in the life of a broker using an AI-enabled CRM system. We've launched our agent here on the right-hand side, and using natural language, I'm able to instruct this agent to do things on my behalf, like, for instance, entering in data. We can type the request in, or we can simply use voice-to-text transcription services to speed up the process. Let's see how that might work. I just got off a call with Dan Wilson with Wilson and Associates regarding the potential purchase of a Class A office building in Dallas, Texas. During the call, Dave mentioned an existing property in his portfolio at 4610 Elm Street in Dallas, Texas. Dave's email address is dwilson@wilsonassociates.com, and his phone number is 214-567-4645. Please create a contact and company record as well as a property record, making sure to associate Dave and his company as the owner of that property. Instead of having to go in there and take the time to figure out where to create a company and where to create a contact and associate those two, and moreover, where to go in and create a company record, we can see that all that's been done for us in a matter of seconds, including the property record here and its association with Wilson and Associates and Dan as the owner. Let's continue the example. Schedule a follow-up task to reach out to Dave to update him on the research on potential target properties 2 weeks from today. In addition to creating company and contact records and also property records, we're able to do all other things like just the daily grind of task tracking and making sure we're handling our follow-ups. Please provide me a list of office properties in Dallas, Texas, with total building area between 20,000 and 50,000 square feet as potential targets for this outreach on behalf of Dave. You can see the list of those properties. And again, at this juncture, we're really focusing on just those properties that are contained inside of our CRM system. But in future releases, we're going to go outside of the tool and look at publicly available listings and bring that information in to augment that which is already captured, and not only have them be viewable, but also considered as inclusion and written as records into your CRM system. Let's interact with Dave via email. Draft an email to Dave Wilson listing details about the first 3 properties in this list, letting him know of these as potential target properties and that I'm reaching out to these owners to gauge interest. Again, taking the friction out of the equation here and contextually being able to reference the properties that we pulled from the CRM system and then embed those into an email. So that's just an example of more of an investment sales work stream. Let's maybe switch our gears to tenant rep. I just ended a meeting with a potential tenant in the market, Tim Abbott with Abbott Consulting. He's interested in spaces ranging from 15,000 to 18,000 square feet of Class A office space in Dallas, Texas. He has an existing lease with an expiration date of July 25th, 2026. Tim's email address is tim@abbottconsulting.com, and his phone number is 972-349-4538. Please add a company and contact record for Tim. So now we've got the company and contact record. We see the phone number and the email address and the fact that he's associated to Abbott Consulting, all of which is a quick click away. So we can see that here. Sure enough, we've got the contact for Tim Abbott. Let's take this a bit further. Please create a lease preference for Tim using the details I've provided above. This allows us to capture things like his requirements around his current lease, what type of property, class of property, and we can see all that now documented for us. Provide me a list of properties in Dallas, Texas with availabilities that fit the requirements that Tim just shared with me. Now the system is leveraging this lease preference that was created, and it's bouncing it up against the availabilities in the database again that are related to properties that fit this requirement. And sure enough, here we see a handful of those properties, 3 of them to be exact. And now we want to, as we've benefited from this, share this information with Tim. Create a new tenant rep deal for Tim Abbott with a gross deal value of $1.8 million and add the first 3 properties in this result set as listed as prospective properties against that deal. So now we've elevated this relationship from just conversations and tracking at a company and contact level to adding a deal in our pipeline for Tim and this tenant rep assignment. We click on the tenant rep deal, we can see that, and we see the prospective properties added in tow. Let's finish this example out with the creation of a quick email to Tim. Draft an email to Tim Abbott, including these first 3 properties in the body of the email, with details about each as preliminary targets for consideration in his move to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've seen on a couple occasions here the drafting of emails from the CRM system, but on the topic of emails, let's talk about another direction. Email communications with clients, partners, brokers, and others contain great information about properties, lease and sale comps, and other requirement-oriented details that would be ideal to exist inside of your CRM system. The problem is, it does take that time to take an email and transform it into this CRM system. Let's see how all that changes using AI to transform those emails into records in seconds. Here we've got a quick email exchange, a thread, if you will, between a broker and a prospective tenant. Broker outlines the requirements that he'd captured, and in return, the prospective tenant has even confirmed that, refined it a little bit, and even suggested some properties that he's seen in his research that might be interesting. With a quick forward of this email to the CRM system, using AI, we're able to transform that email into a summarized set of details. But more importantly, over here on the right-hand side, it picks up on the companies, the contacts, and even the properties that are referenced, and even evaluates tasks that might be appropriate for me to follow up on and suggest those as things that could be added to my calendar. And in addition, preferences. Simply just providing this in a quick format that I could quickly save as records to the system, or could even augment, edit, and update before doing so. Let's talk about one other example of artificial intelligence coming to the rescue here, and that's around documents. Using an AI-enabled document abstraction tool that's integrated with my CRM system, I'm able to quickly transform those documents into CRM records and data in a matter of minutes. Let's take a look. Here we fed a simplistic commercial lease agreement into the system. We see the various data here in the document, and with AI, now I've transformed that document into a series of data fields that then can be consumed into our CRM system. With simply clicking on the export button, hitting the export data to Salesforce, we now can see how what once was just simply text in a document is now a record inside of our CRM system. Here's the tenant, Nicholas Partners. Here's the corresponding lease that was derived from that document, the property that it's related to, who are the parties, the tenant, of course, but also the owner, and the commencement expiration date, along with the lease rate and average rent, etc. And these are just examples of what we see as a vision on leveraging artificial intelligence in the commercial real estate context. Please stay tuned for other advances as they're coming fast. We look forward to touching base with you again. Talk soon.